Hey, it's your favorite educator, Rashida Roberts here at the Cash Flow Convo, brought to you by Target-Financial.com, where we're talking about how to increase your cash flow and the crucial cash flow conversations about everyday finances with real people and real results. I hope everyone is doing well out there. Thanks for stopping by to get a dose of money motivation. Catch us every Thursday on your favorite podcast program. And don't forget to crush the like button, hit the keys, and leave us a comment. Tell us where you're from and share this episode with family and friends. Actually, go get your favorite drink and snacks right now and talk about this episode and start a combo of your own. Look, go to thecashflowcombo.com to check out more of our resources and to be a guest on our show. We want to hear real stories, real questions, and real results from everyday folks and even some of our experts. Now, let's dive into the Cash Flow Combo, where we target your mind and your money. All right. Hey. All right, guys. Look, it's been a while since I've been on my streaming in different places. And you know what? This is the late night. I didn't stream, but, I'll plug in there soon. But today, just briefly, y'all, I just wanted to come over and talk to you guys about paying yourself first. Okay, look. I posted to pay yourself first in a group, and you would have thought that I said just, oh my gosh, jump off a bridge or something. But y'all, we have got to learn how to pay ourselves first. It's coming out in my book, right? I put this in my book, but this was a strategy that I had to learn. But even so many gurus tell us to pay ourselves first. I got feedback about this is clickbait. This is a scam or something. This is all about buying a book. It was just so many comments about not paying yourself first. Most people don't pay themselves first when most rich and wealthy pay themselves first. And you know what? I wouldn't lie. I think that was yesterday, talking about, how we work all of these hours. We work so many hours. Why can't we pay ourselves first? Someone said that, isn't bills paying yourself first? When you pay your bills, that means you're paying yourself. No, you're not paying yourself first when you pay your bills. Who owns the utility company? Who owns your water company? Who owns your light company? Who owns if you're paying rent, right? Who owns it? Who is the owner who you're paying the bills to? That's the person you're paying. When you pay yourself, someone else was like, well, when you get your check, you're getting paid. Your employer paid you. I'm asking you to take what you earned and pay yourself. What does that look like, and what does that mean? A lot of people are like, well, does that mean that we don't pay the bills? Come on, y'all. I'm asking you to pay yourself. And so many people have problems with paying themselves first. They're so concerned about everybody else getting their money and everything, but they're not concerned about themselves. Now, look, listen, I know people who follow the Bible biblically to give the tithe, and that's different. You don't pay somebody back that already owns it all, right? So that giving, that's something that's a different, right? I'm telling you to actually pay yourself. That means find room. No, you don't find. Just make room to pay yourself first, and then pay everything else second. Look, my brother and I remember we were talking about that, and like he knows like this is what they say. Pay yourself first. And no, it's not a scam, and it's not a gimmick, and it's not, an alter thing to go do something to buy my book or anything like that. When I want you to buy my book, I would actually say, buy my book, right? But paying yourself first means that you're going to pay you're going to save, right? You're also going to You're going to put money in your savings. You can put money in an investment account or 401k, or, that could be building your emergency fund. Okay. It's just paying yourself something. And if you don't have a lot, you start somewhere. I know a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck, but that doesn't mean that we can't save. I mean, I was able to crush $15,000 worth of debt in 1 year within 12 months. Right? I didn't get a new job. I didn't. And my savings account was always like, okay, I put some money here, but I was to save up. But just think what happened. My mindset had to change. And so this is why I say pay yourself first. You have to change your mindset. If I hadn't changed my mindset, the emergencies that I've had in the last year have totaled up to over $10,000. Over $10,000. I'm about at $11,000 in emergencies. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. But imagine if I didn't have that. What would I have? I would have $10,000 more of debt, and I would be paying interest on that debt. So all I'm asking you is to take a few dollars of your money and put it aside. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Let it grow. Even if you have to start out at $5, even if you have to start out at $10 a month, if you have to start out at 1% of your salary or your paycheck, every paycheck, even if you had to start out with 5%. Okay. Now I was reading in David Bach's book, and he says based on how much you save, you can look at how much, where you want to be. You want to be a millionaire. That's where you want to be, in the upper echelon. Then pay yourself 20% of your paycheck. If you want to be kind of upper middle class, pay yourself anywhere from 15 to 20%. If you want to be middle class, pay yourself anywhere from 10 to 15%. If you want to be like everybody else and be poor, pay yourself nothing, right? Because there's a good correlation with most people who don't pay themselves. They don't have money saved. They don't have retirements. They don't. There's a lot of trends. Like, people have studied this, and we just got to pay yourself first. Look, okay, you guys know it's the Target Financial, and about real people, real results. And yes, we have experts on here, but today we're gonna get in with, where's my guest? Where's my guest? They were just here. I was just about to plug them in, but they are no longer here. So, hey, I was just let's see if she pops back on. Our special guest today, just a real person, regular person. But yeah, that's Mitch. That's the message. I didn't want to be on here long, but I did just want to plug that in, because I asked this question in a very large group, and there are so many people against paying themselves first, and they want to pay their bills first instead of making sure they put something aside. Look, you work all week long, all week, 60, whether you're working 40 to 60 to 80 hours a week, that's a very long time. Are you worth a few hours of your time to set aside 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, whether you get paid $25 an hour or, $30, an hour, whatever it is? How much are you worth? We give everybody away. We give our money away to everybody. Even the government takes its money. So I was in the book also that before 1943, everybody used to pay their taxes in spring. It didn't come out your paycheck. You got your full paycheck. You can do whatever you wanted to do with it, right? And after 1943, you were able to, decided to start taking out your taxes out of your paycheck. Why did they do that? Because they figured out that people budget and they weren't budgeting for their taxes. Wow. So the government figured out a way to pay themselves first. So why don't you? Man. All right. Our guest came back up. We have Miss Stephanie Carter with the Therapy Cafe. Hey, welcome. You are muted. Unmute your mic.
Whoop, whoop. I'm here.
Yes, Queen. So, really quickly, before you chime in with this conversation, tell people who you are, where you from, what you do, and where they can find you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so here it is. I'm a teacher now. What? I am Stephanie, and in the social media streets, I show up in Therapy Cafe to give you food to feed your soul and live your life out loud and on purpose. So this is yummy stuff. You find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Woo woo.
At
so
what's your
and
handle?
oh, my handle is Stephanie_therapy.cafe on Instagram.
All right.
And I'm,
Say it one more
yeah,
time.
Stephanie_therapy.cafe on Instagram and on YouTube.
Awesome. All right, Miss Stephanie, Miss Therapy Cafe, come soothe our soul and tell us what you think about this phenomenon about paying yourself first. I know it's not your go to, but we all deal with money, right? All of us deal with
Yeah,
money, so we
yeah,
should be able to have an opinion about it.
yeah. But you know, I think what you're saying is really, really yummy. Because we weren't necessarily taught that. And when I say we, just from a general standpoint, it probably doesn't come up until you start earning. And so, or you hear it, the 10% rule when it comes to also church. It may even be, the government, church, but nobody said put you in the mix. It was one of those things when you start earning money, spending money, and maybe it's your own mindset. You're like, what you say? Or when, if you're in a situation where it doesn't meet, you hear about stretching the dollar. And so, um, when you begin to think about savings, that or even making more money, then that's when you hear about making it. I mean, saving some for yourself and paying yourself first. So it's a practice, and they have a couple rules out there. The 10-10-30 rule, uh, where you divide, it up, 10% to your taxes or to your retirement, and then you pay everything else. But that is your wheelhouse, to educate and have that cash flow combo. But those are some of the peekaboos that even pique my interest, that I come first in everything that I do in my own business and in paycheck.
Yeah. So why do you think people have such a problem? Like, why do you think anybody would have a problem with that notion? I kind of have an idea, but why do you think when I was posted, I'm telling you, I got like almost 200 people saying no, I'll pay my bills first, because that's less stressful and all of that. And then there were about 80 people or so that said yes, I pay myself first. And then some people are like, man, F them bills.
Well,
And all kind of stuff. So why do you think so many people are so against it? So against.
it's just how you come into consciousness of it. It also depends. It's just like some people say, why am I saving if I have bills to pay? Well, same reason your car breaks down. It's man-made. I mean, uh, shift happens. I'm also the master shift strategist. So for the sake of this program and on your platform, I'm going to say shift happens. And then what do? Can I make it real personal? We're all not we all are born with purpose, right? And it's the same thing when it's time for you, when your dash ends. And it's the difference of your family having to cremate you, put you in a box, or have to put a GoFundMe because nobody prepared for those emergency funds.
Hey, we just got through talking about that today. That's so true.
It's the truth. It's so many. I won't even go culturally, but there's so many, not just one culture. There's so many that technically the family needs to put you in a box. And I mean a wooden box. And they really do have it. Unmarked wooden boxes. or coffins. Let me just make it real. Or cremation because it's cheaper and it's affordable because you didn't prepare or you didn't leave breadcrumbs. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Other families going into debt trying to put your remains away.
Yeah. And I think too, it's also a concept that, because we're not so familiar with it, it's so foreign that
It's out of the norm.
it gives you anxiety just to think about not paying your bills, because I liken it to and compare it to, not showing up on Christmas Day without gifts for your kids or family, even though you can't afford it, right? You can't afford it. You bought this stuff on credit, but you rather put it on credit and you rather bust your behind for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, or however long it takes to pay it off, or never, than to show up without the gifts and to thinking about, man, my gonna get paid, all of this, like we can't even fathom that, right? We can't fathom, oh no, we got to protect that credit score. Guys, this is a man-made score that they have you so pumped up on. I mean, there are people who they don't care about the credit because they have enough money in savings that the credit score doesn't even bother them. Now, I'm not, and credit score can be rebuilt. So what if you started saving $5 or $10 or whatever, and something couldn't get paid? You protect your four walls. If your four walls get paid, guess what? You're gonna be okay, because you can eat, you can sleep, you can get to back into from work or whatever, and you got a place over your head. If that's all that got paid, then that should be sufficient, right? It should. But
well, that's why they pay the bills first, because some people have it's also stems from what were you exposed to as a child, what and mindset do you take on, and for some, if they don't pay the bills, that threatens the roof over their head, that interrupts their own insecurities about stability. It disrupts whether or not they're making provision,
But at the same time, it's like they're just thinking like this astronomical number. It does not take an astronomical number in order to save. And man, I was looking at, well, I'm going to pull it up too, because I was reading David Bach's book about the automatic millionaire, and I'm reading it on Kindle, so I don't have it right there in front of me. But what it was saying, showed you that I was like, oh, this is so juicy. I love it, because it was showing you if you just say, so look, I'm looking at it right here, y'all. Okay. So if you just save $3.50 a day, because some people go get a latte, right? Because he calls this the latte effect or whatever. And I had something kind of like this in my book. I didn't have the example, like the visual example here, but I'm like, oh, this is good. I like this example. But $3.50 a day, if you do that for a month, that's $105, right? If you do it for a year, that's $1,260. And if you do that for a decade, 10 years, that's $12,600. Now, how many of us smoke cigarettes? You know how high giraffe? Like, I used to have a friend, she's like, giraffe booty. As high as giraffe booty, right? Cigarettes are not cheap. And I know sometimes they come out with coupons and stuff, but just think about how much cigarettes cost. And even if you can't quit the habit, you're not there yet. What would it be to cut out one pack of cigarettes? Especially if you're up to smoking a couple of packs a day. What if you cut out one? You know what I'm saying? He also had he showed where if you paid, this was the killer, because I like this chart. If you had, I can't find it, but it was just a good representation of, how much money you could actually save just by cutting out a little bit. If you still have cable TV, I got rid of my cable TV just last month because they wanted to go up $30. And I'm like, I don't watch enough cable TV to do that. So, a lot of times we're just not ready to sacrifice, but it's going to cost me for the next half of the year. It was $500 that I'm spending on cable. How many hours do I spend at work, and how many hours after work do I spend on my computer working for business purposes? And then how many hours do I actually spend, watching TV? I don't get enough use out of it for me to spend $1,000. If I take that same $1,000 and put it somewhere elsewhere, put that into something that's giving me, a gain of 8%, 10%, whatever, that's $1,000, plus whatever I would have gained, or $1,000 that I could have added to debt. But heck, $1,000 emergency fund would even be better than that, because most people, need, if they just had $500 to a $1,000 emergency fund, that will save them from a lot of headache.
Well, there's two things that come to mind when you're speaking of how does one get started. Like every January, like last year, they have these little, challenge, like I challenge myself.
Mm-hmm.
Save $1 a week. And so if it's week 1 in January, then that's $1. Week 2, you save $2. Week 3, you save $3. At the end of the year, you end up with over $1,000 just by that one principle.
Mm-hmm.
Or start backwards. Start with 300 and how many years days? 365. Start off with 365, and at the end of the year, you end up with 1. So you go down, and you realize, oh man. So I challenge my own kids to do that, and so that they can see money grow,
right,
and play their part in it, right?
Yeah.
And then some people also have the mindset that they don't make enough. But what comes to mind is, I can't think of her name, but she used to either wash clothes or did housekeeping, and she ended up giving $1 million to a college university on her behalf for, scholarships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, even if it's clipping coupons, even if it is all this digital world. I mean, we can have another casual conversation on how do we do this, or it's just, I don't know. But for me, you have to look at life as glass half full, meaning that it can always be replenished versus glass half empty. And we have too many skills that we're sitting on to make those different ways. You're constantly pulling out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're constantly pulling out of your pocket. But somewhere along the way, Rashida, I know that in the target for financial, we'll find a way to stop pulling just out of our pocket and have that conversation with you on what to do to bring some back.
Exactly.
Instead of just emptying your pockets, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And and I just say to you all, have to feel like you are worth the investment and putting that money back into yourself. It does not have to be big. And so like with some of those challenges, because I've tried like some of the weekly challenges, what you have to do a lot of times, because I don't get paid per week and I don't carry around cash because I know I lose it. So, but there are people who get paid weekly. They could easily do that. You could set your bank account up to actually take your change, and your change goes into your savings. My bank account does that. Or you could get what program, kind of like with acorns.com, and Acorns will take your change and it will invest it, and you can have it. So like, let's say you go to the grocery store and you spend $5.57. Well, after your transaction, it's going to take the rest of that change, which should be 43 cents, right? 43 cents will now make that whole transaction $6, where the 43 cents will go into your investment account in Acorns. So there, and little change, the little stuff. And it adds up, because, I'll look at my savings account and be like, whoa, wait, how did this get here? And it's because it takes the change and it puts it in my savings from every transaction. And so it doesn't take a big investment. It does not going to cause you not to have a house, a roof over your head. It's not going to cause you not to pay your utility bills. It's not going to cause you, not be able to eat or anything like that. There are plenty of habits that cause us not to be able to have those things, but definitely not putting money in your pocket is going to cause you to do that. Okay, now you're save $500 and you don't have $500. Come on, let's make it make sense. You can't do that.
Can I share with you one method that I did when I was like, okay, I need to save money. I would take, how you get your check, and my check was, $5,247. No, it wasn't, but I'm just saying that $47 is what I took and dispersed it. I would get a like a movie pass, so you can get 2 movie passes like for $5 a piece, and then I make sure that other part I would use the $7, and that probably was my treat. But the $40, I would put 30 just in like not a cookie jar, but cookie jar. And then I would take $10 and go get movie passes, or I'd go get a gift card so that when I wanted to go out and be entertained or do an activity, I already had some stashed away that didn't impact or affect the bill money or your day-to-day money. So it worked. Like, it always felt like, it was like, okay, what we're going to do? And I'd pull something out the jar, knowing that there was coupons in there. And it was fun to me. Like, and at that time I was in a relationship, so it was fun to us. So there's all little kind of ways so that you can not feel like you're sacrificing your whole life or that you're not entertaining, because that's not fun either. So you just get creative. And then sometimes one of the other like surefire ways to still save, like when you go to your favorite restaurants, go for lunch versus dinner. Dinner might cost you $10 to $15 more, and that $10 or $15 you could save. I've even done it where I say, okay, I'm not eating out this week, or if I think I want to eat, then I'll take the money that I would have spent at a fast food restaurant and just put it in like a cookie jar. There's all kind of things to influence you to save. And when you look back, you're like, wow. 2 things. I always teach my children, because I want to change their money blueprint, to not go on zero, because there's always going to be something you want or desire when you go to a store or different things. But I also want them to pace themselves. And then one of my mentors before, she would write so much money to herself, and she called it my dream, funding my dream. And she just would send it to the bank, just deposit it. She didn't even look at that particular account. And then when she was ready, she had over 50 something $1,000 in that account, because she was disciplined and just kind of paid herself first. So, yeah.
Wow, that is awesome and wonderful, because I know we have talked about, like, look, y'all, first of all, y'all didn't hear all those gems she just dropped, okay? The money blueprints. First is pay yourself first. And then 2, look, she said that, she would stack activities already to be done, for future purposes. And so, movie tickets, whether it was, maybe some type of theme park or something like that, there are different things you can stack and have ready available. So that way, when you do fall on hard times, a lot of times we don't think like that. I know, we're all about getting the refund, but what if you actually were strategic like that? Then you don't have to be in a rush to overspend and do different things like that. And then look, taking some money and putting it into an account that you don't even see and don't like you're not looking at. That's exactly what I say. Like, you need to do that for your savings. Don't put with your checking and your savings, don't put them in the same bank at all. Especially if you're trying to, like, well, this is how I set mine up. I have a savings account, this for quick money savings, like so I can grab. I got a savings before the for the savings, right? So my quick savings is so that because hey, you get down to $5, you're like, I need to grab that or whatever, right? I am not too far when I've had to, 58 cents in the bank. So, I keep it real. I did not somebody talking to you who got some wealth sit down to them or whatever. No, but and then I keep my other savings account in a high yield savings account at another bank. I cannot access that right now. I can access it in a day or two. So if my car breaks down or something like that, I can transfer the money and, pay it off while it's, once it gets out the shop or whatever. So but some quick emergencies, you might need something to get to like super quick. And so that's why I have it. That's why I have it set up like that. Now that smaller one doesn't have a lot in it, but the other one, I don't even, like, sometimes I do forget about it. Like I forget about it. But if you automate, you can either write the checks to yourself or you can just automate it so you don't see it. And a lot of gurus, whether you're talking to about the Budgetnista, whether you're talking about David Block, whether you're talking about Michelle Singletary, all of these people, myself included, we say automate. And the reason why you automate is because out of sight, out of mind, and you just make it. It's a habit that you don't even have to be disciplined to do that, right? Because it's just going to automatically come out. I used to do my ties like that, back in the day. And that's how I do a lot of gift giving now. I just put it on automation because if I wait for myself to do it, it stays in my head. And then by the time, it's like, oh, I done spent the money.
And I think a lot of times now, we're talking about writing checks, but we're also talking about a generation that doesn't know what writing a check means, because we have so many things accessible on our phones that the actual act of writing it out is not done. The actual act of keeping a check register, you keep it right here. It may be on your phone, but the reality is, we're on autopilot for a lot of things, but tracking your coins is not. We wait for the notification, but there's something about the actual transaction of looking, or you can keep it electronically, but it's something about keeping it in front of you too that keeps you accountable. And money sometimes is scary because sometimes we think of what we don't have, and then we're holding on to every dime and penny of what we do have. But I will tell you that if I'm holding on like this, guess what? You're also signaling in my world, the universe, that you have no room to take any in and no room to take any out. So we have to be able to keep our hands open to receive and for it to be that cash flow combo where there's an exchange for it to come in and to come out.
Exactly. So, you have to have a good mindset, all around. Look, this was a great conversation and it is 33 minutes. So y'all know y'all's time and y'all's attention span, y'all probably, is gone now. So we're going to check her out. We want to thank Stephanie, the Master Shift Strategist with Therapy Cafe. Remember, go to Stephanie_therapy.cafe.
Yes.
On Instagram and find her. And because this was so quick, I don't have all of my little banners running around, but y'all can find me right down there, Target Financial, or you can go to www.thecashflowcombo.com, and all of my links are on right there. And so remember, guys, go ahead.
I said, thank you, Coach Rashida. She's the bomb.
So
money conversation to not be scary.
Yeah, we definitely, we got to, because I just feel like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we repress each other. Like we feel like just because somebody's not an expert in something that they don't have a voice. to talk about that or whatever it is. And then secondly, we just been raised to, what happens in this house stays in this house. Like nobody's sitting around the table talking about money. Everything's always silent. It's always been a stigma not to talk about money. But guess what? The people who got the money, they are talking about money because they're bringing their friends in to opportunities, and they're telling them how they can, do this and save here and save there. And so I want my own secret society. Well, we got to talk about money. So, we're trying to bring that conversation in to everybody. But look, it's only those persons who are going to take action and do it that's going to be involved. I'm just going to make that my secret world. And we're going to huddle around. We're going to have our money blueprints, and we're going to talk about the cash flow combo, and we're going to be on our grind. I whispered something to myself the other day, and I don't know where it came from, but it got to be the Lord. I was just like, I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, and boom. That I was just like, I don't know. I got so excited. I was just laying down on the couch. But some people will laugh at you for even having the audacity to think that you can even do that. And, when I think about, all the people who are entertainers and actors and different things like that, a lot of what we do, from home, I hate to say poor, but a lot of us are poor when you look at monetarily, financially poor, and some of us are just mindset poor as well. But you look at entertainers and you look at people who are up here, and we want to be like that so much. But the problem is that what we don't see, we don't want to be like what they actually had to do to get there. Because we see the glam and the glitter and the fringe and all of the sparkly lights. But what did Beyonce have to do to get to that point? You didn't see her running on the treadmill and singing at the same time for hours on end practicing, right? You didn't see Tyler Perry sleeping in his car, while he tried to get up. You didn't see a lot of actors and actresses, working waitress jobs, getting treated like crap, and, dealing with, different people. You didn't see somebody but out there busting their behind, stripping, not because they wanted to, because they knew that put food and bills on the table. You didn't see, and I could go on and on and on, but people have made sacrifices. They read books, they go out there and hustle. One of somebody that I learned about, they talk about how they went and hustled and used their last dime to get to a workshop that they knew that would just change their life. It was a big ticket. And so when I tell you to save, pay yourself first, and the first thing you do is run, or it's a scam and all of that, that means that you see the glass half empty. You're not looking at this and trying to figure out, well, how can I pay myself first? When I tell people that, hey, don't worry about that credit score. And, the first thing is like, well, how can I do, like, I need my credit score. Credit score is for everything. But guess what? Have you ever thought about how you could live without it? And see, when you start changing your mindset, then you can create solutions for the problems that we actually have. So don't just say it's a scam. Start thinking about the solutions around it. Yes, I know credit is everywhere and everything, but there are a lot of people who are not even dealing with it because it stresses people out so much. I just see how clingy people are to the credit score. Thank God right now, like I don't need it. So like I made a couple of moves that I knew it was going to go down. So what, I don't care. Like, cause even with the next car that I get, man, cause I'm definitely going to get a new car in the next 6 months or whatever, it's going to be paid for in cash. I'm not paying. I don't like car notes. And so therefore I don't have to deal with no credit. You're going to get this cash money and I'm gonna have me a car. And that's just what it's gonna be. But right now, y'all, they sell them for super high because there are chips that are missing, and so manufacturers aren't being able to get they new cars out. So y'all be mindful of that while y'all trying to go out there and purchase those cars, the used cars, because they are high. They the highest draft booty. But no. So it's been great. Look, that was 33 minutes. Now it's 7 more minutes. But it's late night. I love having these late night conversations. We appreciate you all. Hope you see us on the replay. Hit like, hit a comment, tell if you agree, you disagree, you scared, you mad, you big mad, whatever it is. All press is good press. So thank you for coming on, Stephanie, again with Therapy Cafe. And y'all have a good night.
Thank you.